What is Druthers?
Alternate information that the mainstream isn't touching.
And how do you veto content like that?
That's kind of a tough question. Unless we know it to be true, I don't want to put it in here.
How do you determine that?
So it's a fine line to talk here to try to give information without overwhelming and without seeming like crazy conspiracy kooks. Because one thing that is clear that I am certain on, mainstream news is lying.
What do you figure they're lying about?
Oh, everything. They're done. They're done. And they'll often call us far-right extremists, and it's crazy. This is just to try to down-talk us and make us seem small.
Would you admit, though, that there are maybe some more extremist groups here? For instance, there are the ones that carry the Don't Tread on Me flag.
Sure, there are some, yes.
But then isn't that a little bit weird sometimes to stand alongside someone who you might disagree with strongly?
It is a little odd.
Make some money.
Thanks so much.
And hand some of these out.
Enjoy.
Have a great day.
Hey, man. Do you mind talking to me a bit about this?
Sure, what's up?
I take it this is your imprint, is it?
I created this, yes.
Okay.
Well, me and with the help of some friends.
Yeah, of course. What is Druthers?
Druthers, a new newspaper, basically. It's Canada's new free newspaper since mainstream sucks. So we created our own with real news, real information, without the spin, without the bias, without the lies. Real news.
Can you tell me about some of the contents? Like, this is your first issue, right?
This is the second issue.
Second issue, sorry.
The first one was December, this one's January. Like, for example, right on the front, there's nothing great about this reset. A lot of people seem to think that this great reset talk is conspiracy. It's not. Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum wrote a book about it. So people should really inform themselves about what's actually happening before sloughing it off as a conspiracy theory, because it's happening.
And what kind of research do you do in order to assemble a paper like this?
That's kind of a tough question. I mean, I've been on this page, I've been seeing this stuff happening for 16 years, so it's not like, I did a little research recent. This is 16 years of seeing an agenda roll out. And then 2020 came and that agenda started amping up many-fold. So what kind of research? I'm not really sure how to answer that one. It's been 16 years of input.
I guess what I'm getting at is, like, what kind of research do contributors do to contribute to the paper?
That's a good question, too. I don't really know. I get a lot of articles sent, and I sift through and pick the ones that I feel are most on and print them in the... So there's many that I don't receive, or that I don't publish. There's only so much space, and there's a lot of things, unless we know it to be true, I don't want to put it in here. There's nothing politically biased in here either, or religiously biased.
And how do you veto content like that? Contributions that you might not think are appropriate for the newspaper. How do you determine that?
That's a tricky line, because what it seems, there's a lot of truth, a lot of information that we can give to people, but the general population aren't really ready for that depth of info yet. So it's a fine line to talk here to try to give information without overwhelming and without seeming like crazy conspiracy kooks. So it's a fine line to walk. But yeah, this, for example, also in here, a warning from a retired OPP officer, Vincent Gerses. He's been doing some great work waking people up to what's going on. Vaccine concerns. Guy Crittenden, he did a really good piece, Immiseration in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Again, this isn't conspiracy. This is what's happening. Klaus Schwab and his friends are all talking about it. And then something like this is important to have too, a little message of hope for humanity. Because there's a lot of hope for humanity. Things may seem pretty ugly right now, but we got this.
What is the immiseration in the Fourth Industrial Revolution? I've never heard that term before.
Immiseration is making life miserable, basically. Like driving is a lot more difficult. Going to restaurants or going out is difficult with no bathrooms available. A lot of this is designed to make us not want to go out, to make life more miserable. So we just do what they say and stay indoors. Immiseration.
And I see your jacket says Toronto District School Board. Are you affiliated with?
I'm not. I did a coat drive a couple years ago, drummed up 150 coats or so for the homeless, and I needed one. Yeah, please, here you go. And I needed one, so I kept one. But no affiliation whatsoever.
And what is your name and where are you from?
I'm Shawn Jason, from Tillsonburg, but I live here in Toronto.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time. I'm going to grab a copy too. So.
I've been around for a while.
This is Shawn.
published.
Well, I've been posting to a few different places, a combination of Instagram, YouTube, and my Facebook page.
Okay, it's a personal, it's not an organization?
That's right,
What's your
yeah.
name?
My name is Morgan Yu.
Cool.
Yeah.
Please, if you would, the contact form there comes to me. If you'd send it over, I'd love to see
Yeah,
what
sure,
you do.
sure.
And check out your other stuff, too.
Yeah, like I should explain. I don't necessarily agree with everything that everyone has to say,
That's fair, yeah.
but I am interested in hearing people out, and I'm gathering perspectives.
That's beautiful.
So yeah. So
That's
what
all
you
we
so what
ask,
you
'cause
see?
I'm not trying to change anyone's mind with this stuff. I'm trying to plant seeds of thought because we're not getting the full picture through the mainstream news channels and outlets. So this is about planting seeds. Nobody can change another person's mind. All we can do is give information and let it work in them or not. And that's what this is about, is just alternate information that the mainstream isn't touching.
That's an interesting subject, and I wouldn't mind if you elaborate on that a bit, because I really do also see a huge amount of division in terms of attention and where people get their information and how they evaluate whether or not they can trust it or not. And I see this community engage in researching things that I think a lot of people, well, I should say using platforms that other people have never even heard of before. And so, I don't know, I'm curious about like the role that you see Druthers having and what kind of media you actually do read that you that does fit your criteria, that gets your attention, that you respect.
I like to look at, as you say, perspectives from all angles. That's how you get to see the bigger picture. So, I mean, I do take in mainstream input. I take in even the crazy, far, extreme type stuff. I look at it all, because only when you, I mean, if you have an object and you only look from one angle, you only get a certain view of it. You need to look at these objects from multiple angles to really get a picture of what it is. And so, yeah, I like to look at everything also and use my own discernment to make up my mind on what I feel is going on. I'm open to be wrong. I don't claim to be right. This is when we're not arbiters of truth with this paper either. We're not saying this is absolute 100%, believe this. No, we're just explorers of truth and helping other people hopefully become explorers of truth too. Because one thing that is clear that I am certain on, mainstream news is lying.
What do you figure they're lying about?
Oh, everything. I mean, it's always been spin and twisted and propaganda to a degree for many years now. But this, starting in 2020, it's off the charts. Pretty much everything is spin. Everything's twisted and lied to serve the greater agenda of things like the Great Reset that they're trying to push forward. So I encourage people, stop believing everything from the news as truth. Think about it, look in deeper, and don't just slough off things, people who speak against it as conspiracy theorists. A lot of this is not conspiracy. There's facts behind a lot of this. Just look, question more deeply.
Are there things that mainstream media could do to regain some of their eroded base?
I don't think so. They're on the way out at this point, is what I see. They're done. They're done. They've lied for too long, and enough people are starting to see that they're on the way out. I don't think there's redemption for them. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I see.
Have you ever spoken to them before? I know that sometimes they're at the perimeter and they'll set up a camera. Have you ever seen them speak to anybody? No, actually, I haven't. And oftentimes when they'll talk about this, they'll take a small, narrow picture of a few people and say, 100 protesters. And the one time I saw that, there was literally thousands when they said over 100 protesters came. And they often like to call us anti-maskers and other belittling terms. And we're not anti-mask. I mean, if you want to wear a mask, it's okay. We don't judge people for that. It's the being forced upon us that we are against, that I am against, and many of us are not. We don't agree with that. It should not be forced. A lot of these things should not be forced. The mainstream likes to call anti-maskers, and they'll often call us far-right extremists, and it's crazy. This is just to try to down-talk us and make us seem small. I forget where I was going with that. That's okay. Would you admit, though, that there are maybe some more extremist groups here? For instance, there are the ones that carry the Don't Tread on Me flag.
Sure, there are some, yes. But to encompass us all as that is not correct. The people who are seeing through the lies and coming out are a vast spectrum of people. And that's good, that's important. We need people from all walks of life to look at this more closely, because it affects every one of us. And not everybody here do I agree with everything they say. And that's okay. I mean, we're all we're all affected by this. We all need to look at this more closely. So I welcome everybody from all walks of life to be here, but that doesn't mean every one of us have all the same beliefs. So.
But then isn't that a little bit weird sometimes to stand alongside someone who you might disagree with strongly and then still have some kind of solidarity? Like
it is a little odd, but at the same time, the thing that matters most right now is to stop the tyrannical overreach actions from the people in power right now, and that takes all of us. So I'll stand arm in arm with almost anybody who's on the same page in that way. We don't have to agree on everything, that's okay, but we are all affected. Hey, how you doing? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing.
Cheers. Say your name one more time? Just
Shawn Jason.
Shawn, sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.